happening, ladies? My CEO squad. It feels good to say that. But you know what? We're getting into this episode today. It's coming up on the end of 2000. I love y'all's face when I just start going. Y'all are like, what is she going to say? It's the end of 2022, which feels so wild, but it is. And we're going to talk about today some major epic fails that we've had all year. We really haven't had epic fails, but we're definitely going to address them. And what
they probably felt like epic fails, if we're honest, though. They probably weren't in retrospect, but at the time,
yeah,
they probably felt pretty big.
Yeah, I think so. I think when you're in it too, it feels heavy and you feel like why and how and yeah, how are you going to move from it too, right?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, what happened this weekend, guys?
I don't even know what I did this weekend.
I had too many kids. That's what happened this weekend.
I think I went out with Mike. I think Mike and I. Yeah. Me and Mike. Oh
You
my
had a date?
gosh. I took it. Yes, it was a day date. I've been trying to get him to go with me. I just ask him every weekend. I patiently wait for him to say yes. He continues to turn me down. This is a lesson in being persistent, friends. Okay. So I was like, babe, don't you want to go with me to At Home? He was like, what kind of store is that? I'm like, it's a great store. I think it's going to be your favorite store if you go with me. He's like, what kind of stuff do they have in there? I was like, he's like, what kind of places? I'm like, it's a store. It's got stuff in there. He's like, I know that. So are you going to go with me or not? He says, yes. I don't pressure him because I'm ready to go right now. I just relax. I just wait impatiently, but I just wait. And so when we get ready to go, I'm like, now look, because he's hungry. Every time we get in the car, this is like, no, this is the truth. Every time we get in the car, he's so starving all of a sudden. I'm like, do you know what, Mike? Depending on how you behave and at home will determine where we go for lunch.
Wow.
So if you are good, then we will go to Texas Roadhouse. And he's like, I was like, if not, then we will go to someplace else. You can get a chicken sandwich. You're not getting a steak. And so we go. He was so good. He did not complain. He did pick out stuff I don't like, but it was a really good time. Then we went to the steakhouse and we had to wait like 30 minutes. We just sat in the car and talked and laughed about nonsense, and we enjoyed our lunch together, and then we came home and chilled. It was really good. So we had a good weekend. We hung out a lot. Got our Christmas tree this weekend too.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's very funny, the pictures you were sending, because we have talked about colored lights versus white lights. And we left the house the other day. I've always said Alan has never been into colored lights, but you know what he said? He was like, you know what? It would be really nice if I literally cringe when I think about it. I'm like, not you too. So the lights on the gate outside in the fence can be colored if you want them to be, right? Mm-hmm. I don't want them to be, but he said they do turn blue. I was like, I'm not doing freaking blue lights outside. I'm not doing it. So when you sent that picture, I was like, I don't understand. Is it a guy thing?
I don't know. Every tree he picked, he was like, oh, just look at it. It looks so good. I'm like, it actually doesn't. It doesn't. Stop saying that. My mom sends me a picture of her Christmas tree. Color lights. It's like, you better go stay with Joyce for the holidays because I'm not interested in colored lights. Oh. I'm not going to pay for a pre-lit tree to be colored. This real tree that we have, I think we probably have the multicolor lights, and I'll probably put those on there. That's fine. You know what I'm saying? But I just feel like a pre-lit tree is very permanent. I can't change my mind. Uh-huh. I can't say, you know what? I can't take it anymore. With the real tree, it's like, fine, I have this string of lights, but I could buck the system any day of the week and just go and buy some more. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that's fine. Yeah. But pre-lit, that is a level of commitment. I just can't do it.
That's why I'm glad this week I was like, had this thought in my mind. I was like, you know what would be really cool if they had like a pre-lit trees, if they had like white and they had color. That way when I wanted to, for my husband, I could put it on color light. But like if I wanted to, be in the living room around it, I could put it on white lights.
Yeah.
And so I was like, man, that has to be a thing. And so I looked it up. Sure enough, it is a thing.
Oh,
like, yes, this is finally somewhere where I could be. So we've been doing no trees but decorations, or like small mini trees, for the last couple of years. Prior to that, we did regular. We did a real tree. We did real trees. Then we used to have an artificial tree a couple of years back, but then the last couple trees we had were real. But yeah, now I'm like, okay, maybe I'll go back to artificial tree and then do a white and color lights.
Yeah.
Because, I can handle that.
So when you have guests, that's another thing too. Like I try to explain to him, it's very embarrassing for me to have these Christmas tree. It's just very embarrassing for me to have this Christmas tree with these colored lights, and I don't want that. Like
you don't even want to put the tree on social media.
No, I do not. I definitely don't. I'm like, it's fine because it's content. It's content. Like, y'all want to be married? This is what marriage looks like at Christmas time. This is a union right here. You know what I mean? But I tried to explain that to him. I'm like, you don't understand that it's embarrassing to be a woman, to be who I am and how I am, and for my brand to be so just wonderfully designed. And then I got this bubblegum tree behind me, all the colors of the bubblegum, the gumball machine. Like it's an embarrassment. So I think that could be a solution. Oh, we're getting ready to have guests. Chicken. Trying to think right so oh, it's just us sitting in here in the dark. Fine, I don't care. Put it up. Oh, it's time for me to do
honestly, if I had that tree, because I'm not in the living room that often, which, the tree would be, but, I'm not in there that often, I could have it color all the time until I'm out there.
Yeah,
that's true. And then switch it back. Did you see it on Amazon?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. I love that.
Saving marriages at Christmas. It's a holiday. It's a Christmas miracle.
Well, speaking of Christmas lights, we came home the other day and our pre-lit tree that we've had for a few years, you know how it's like the tiers, so it's like a 3-piece. Well, the bottom lights were not working, but the rest were. So that's the issue also with pre-lit trees that drives me bananas, is that they could just stop working. And so Alan said he wants to take the time to figure out which bulb it is. I'm like, I don't have the patience for that. So he's going to figure it out, but that's a pre-lit tree too. You got to worry about.
We had a pre-lit tree before that's the last tree we purchased, was a pre-lit tree. And when our lights went out that first year, I just bought white string lights and then just stuck them in there just at that bottom piece, because our bottom was the first piece to go to. And I was like, oh, this ain't for me. But I had it long enough. I was like, this is fine. It's not going to last forever. It's okay. It's time for something. That's when we switched over to the real tree. So So that's a sad thing, when your tree lights stop working.
You would think by now there would be some type of technology to combat. Like this is I don't know what they could do. I feel like at this point somebody need to come up with some technology to, number one, because even with the strand lights, if one light goes out, one bulb goes out, the whole thing doesn't work. So it's like, what can we do these days to fix that? Has there been a solution? I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm gonna look it up now.
My solution is just get another one.
A whole new one. Yeah, I'm with you. First of all, because when you're talking about those number of lights, who about to check that?
Oh gosh,
Alan, not me. Listen, and not Mike.
Oh, yeah. Well, if neither one of y'all are going to do it, y'all are in trouble.
So I found a solution. I was like, you know what? Let me just go get a string of lights, white lights. And keep it moving.
Now I don't know if I could get used to putting a green tree back in the house because we have all the flock trees and I'm so used to like a white looking tree. Yeah. That would be hard, but I would say go back to like a natural tree too. And then some people don't even do lights on their natural tree. They just look so pretty decorated,
They don't do lights on them?
Yeah, I've seen like people just do like natural trees. Yeah.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Yeah. Styles, that's what it is. I guess it just depends on the aesthetic of the home.
I've seen people. I've been seeing this really amazing pampas grass tree on Instagram.
What?
So pretty. They just take
stick it in there.
Yeah, they put like all this pampas grass in there, and so it's just like a pampas grass tree. It's no lights. It's just
wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. Love this idea.
Go ahead, send me that. I'd love to see that because I need lights.
Yeah, share that. I want to
it.
look at that. It's funny
I
though.
almost sent it to you, Amber, too, but I was like, it's pretty.
I need lights
Yeah,
friends.
it's definitely an idea for sure. I love that idea. It's funny how there's so many different options when it comes to
Oh,
decor
yeah.
for trees now.
Oh
I
yeah.
think because social, maybe people have been doing this for a while. We're just now seeing it, but I grew up with just like homemade ornaments or like ornaments that have some type of saying on them, but now they're like big, elaborate, fancy, that type of style. Just how, and
Yeah,
angels
I
on the
mean,
top of
there's
the
so
tree.
many. And also, I feel like back in the day, I'm sure people were doing it like in the home interior markets and stuff like that. But I feel like back in the day, when I was young, there was like people had different color trees, but it was like the same style, almost like
Yeah.
bulbs, lights,
Yeah.
tinsel or no tinsel. Like people were doing kind of the same style, but I feel
Yep.
like now there's so many different style aesthetics for the tree itself. Like, am I going to do ribbon on it? Am I going to do bulbs? I'm going
Yeah.
to do the big bulbs. I'm going to do small bulbs. Am I going to do? I mean, it's so many different style
I saw
aesthetics.
somebody use balloons the other day
Yeah. I did
and
too.
just stuck them in like gold balloons. Just they
Oh,
didn't blow them up all the way, right? They're kind of
yeah.
smaller, blown up, and just put them all in there, and they did look like the huge gold bulbs. Now I did see somebody
Yeah.
wrap their little bulbs in
Mhm.
balloons. That was
Yep.
serious. I don't even know why you would do that. So now it definitely looks like bubble gum. It was just like red, purple, blue, yellow,
Oh no,
pink.
I saw somebody do really pretty colors like golds and blacks, and they did the balloons. They put the balloons on the bulbs, like old
Yeah.
bulbs were in their color. They were so pretty. I like because also another thing that I've been noticing too is like the matte bulbs. All the bulbs used to be shiny back in the day too. Like a
Yeah.
Oh
lot of
yeah.
people are doing
Yeah.
like the matte bulbs, like more organic. I saw a girl yesterday. She did like creams and browns and golds on her tree. I mean, it's so many different.
It's so
It
pretty.
is. It really is a lot of options that you could have.
Yeah.
You know.
So we literally have like 3 weeks of 2022, and I feel like that's crazy. But because
First of all, I'm going to be 42 this month.
yeah, your birthday's literally right around the corner. I can't believe it because I feel like we just celebrated your 40th. Do you know what I mean?
know. Because did we do anything for my 41st? Maybe we
Yeah,
did.
we went and had a photo.
We did. We had the brunch. Was that the brunch?
We did melting pot.
Was that for
Yeah,
my?
we did
Yes,
melting
because
pot last
we
year.
did the thing. Yes, it was
Yeah.
good.
Yep,
Yeah.
we did that. Yeah. We and then the year before that you had a photo shoot for your 40th. That was a big shoot.
Yes,
That was super fun.
nice. And then we went right to Olivia's house right after for food.
Food. Yep.
It was great.
I
Crab
don't know
leg.
what we're doing this year. We're gonna have to see.
I'm sharing my party with Maddox and Cruz. I'm gonna
Yeah, on the
bring my
10th.
own icing. I'm gonna just put my name on the cake.
Yeah,
No, you think I'm joking. You think I'm joking, but
Cake
I
pop,
feel like
cupcakes.
listen, I was just thinking this last night. I was like, you know what? This is how I know I'm getting old. I was like, I'm just gonna call Angel and be like, all I need is like 5 little cake pops because I'm bringing no guests. It's gonna be me. I'm eat all 5 of the cake pops. And can you just give me 5? I'll pay for 5. It's fine, but can you just make that small of a batch? And then I'm gonna be there at the party, and when y'all are singing "Happy Birthday," I'm gonna be like, "Thank you, thank you."
Well,
I'm gonna bring my own balloons. That's
People are gonna be like, "Who's this girl psychopath at this kid party?"
exactly.
I'm gonna have my own birthday. I'm gonna come with my
your
own
birthday.
birthday. I'm gonna come with my own
I know
birthday
they're like, "Oh,
hat.
not nobody else coming in. We already sharing the birthday."
I'm gonna put my own birthday hat on.
They say a lot. They're like, "Do we have to have a birthday party together this year?" And I'm like, "Yes, you're having a party together, but we do like separate things for them." I'm like, "We're not having 2 different parties this weekend and next weekend. No, we're doing it all in the same time. Y'all enjoy
They trying to party it up.
Yeah, they want to do all the things, but they get their
First
special
of all,
day.
it's so funny that they already are requesting a separate party.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. Like this together party is not going to happen forever. Somebody's going to be a teen and the other person's going to be a kid, and that's going to be the end of that. So enjoy this enjoy this combo party while it lasts. Okay.
Yeah,
Because
there's
somebody's gonna be like,
parties.
I'm turning 16. I don't want him and his friends at my party.
Oh my gosh.
I'm turning 17. I'm not a kid anymore.
Let me tell
That's
you
gonna
what
be bad.
happened.
You already say that. So.
Exactly.
So I had Jackson and obviously Maddox and Cruz. So we had them all this weekend. And so Jackson is obviously 5. Cruz is just turned 7. Maddox is turning 9, right? There is an age gap, you know? And so, but they all play really well together. And I cannot stand it. And this goes for adults too, like it just in general. I can't stand it if there's a group of people and then somebody's left out. It just burns me up. And I'm like, you see them over there by themselves. Even if it's awkward, like I know I've messed up and done that to people too. Like, you know what I mean? It just happens, or people have done it to us. And I'm just like, burns me up. So it kills me with the boys. So with the joint party, it is a way of, I literally don't care. He's your brother, and you are going to always have your brother, no matter how old you are. And y'all are going to do it together. And if you can't do it together, then y'all are going to go to your room and be by yourself and do nothing fun. You know what I mean? Like, if y'all are not playing together, if I cannot encourage y'all to want to be in each other's space, then nobody's going to do anything. Go sit by yourself. You got a 30-minute break. And that really cures it at this age. And even as teens, even if they do that, like they're not into the same thing, they can have their separate day, but they're going to have their day together. Yeah. Because friends and family and everybody that wants to see both of them, that is kind of what it is. Our parties are not just kid parties. They're adult parties also.
Just want to bring them my own birthday hat.
Yeah, bring your own stuff. I'm like, but then we can do your own separate thing. So I think I'm always going to encourage it because I'm like, if nobody else is around, you have no buddies, you always have your brother. So
also with them being in the same month, I mean, just as a person who loves them, you're doing the most. And it's in December, child. Ain't nobody got time for no 2 separate birthday parties in the month of December too. Like, no, go ahead, hit that combo. That sounds good to me. You know what I mean? As a person who wants to come to a party, because then now I got to choose. Because I ain't coming to both. In December, no, not unless one tonight and one in the morning. I must be sleeping over here. One's a dinner, the other one's a breakfast. So I can stay for that. But if 2 separate parties, I just think it's a lot. Yeah.
Yep. It is. And that's where my mind's at. So this weekend they had some moments where they were fussing and fighting, but you have to encourage playing together. And so we'll see. I think it'll be a good time though. It'll be a good time.
I always love the end of the year for lots of reasons. It's holiday time. It is my birthday. Listen, let me just tell you this. I also love a clean slate because when I get a clean slate, it's like, ooh, that stuff did not happen. I'm starting fresh. I don't have to do anything else with that. You know what I mean? Yes. I don't have to feel bad about any of it. And so I'd like for us to talk about, since it's the end of the year, some of our failures, right? Like not necessarily, like you said, like maybe some of them were epic. We can just kind of toss them out as we remember them. I think that we do a really good job of not dwelling on things that don't go well, just the 3 of us in business and in life. So it might be hard in the beginning to remember some of them, but I feel like once we get Amber's like, maybe y'all, I'm ready. I have my list right here. All right, Amber, you want to start? What is your failure? Like one of the ones you want to share with the people?
Yeah, in the moment, it didn't feel like a failure. It felt like this is going to be a huge win. But in business, there are times where you make these crazy investments, right? And you're like, I'm investing in whatever. Well, I have one big investment for Olivia and our business partners too, like legit, right? And we make decisions together. But there are times where maybe one of us feels a little bit more passionate about it than the other. Well, I have something that is literally hanging over my head and it is not going away and it is really annoying and I just want to wash it, but you can't wash it. And so we invested in marketing, which there's some great, amazing things we've done with this marketing team. But one thing is not going away. And it's because we invested in someone to build us a huge sales page and a funnel and all this amazing stuff. And we're going to run ads to it. It's going to be great. So immediately it sounds great because we're like, we're going to gain this money back. Well, there's like a hole. We are in the negative in a place in our company and it is a real thing. And I think about this probably 5 times a week, maybe not every day, but multiple, like hardcore in a day, right? I can be like really dwelling on it. And it's because I see it all the time. When I log into the bank account, I can see things, you know? And so it really, there were things that we have done in business that were really great pieces, right? But there was one thing that we put our money into someone that they were going to do something for us because they were going to run ads to something that was going to fulfill, you know, a program getting sold or whatever. And it didn't happen. And so they basically didn't finish what they said they were going to do, or they hyped it up so much, but maybe that wasn't written in the fine print. You know, it was like one or the other. And so we said yes to it. We paid up front for it, and we didn't get a reimbursement for it. And it really hurts. And it actually, I think every time I think about it, I just get sick to my stomach about it. But it was our business decision. So that's one thing. And another thing that happened recently.
No, we're not rolling through
hang
that.
on, I know,
no,
but they go hand in hand. They go
okay,
hand
I was
in
about
hand.
to say we ain't rolling through that because that's the big one.
Yeah, no, we're gonna sit on that. But because I think so many women in business do these things, and I'm not saying don't invest. I'm just saying you got to really make sure you're making the right business move. But something happened. I'm not going to name names. Something happened with somebody else that is obviously super close to me. If I say it, people are going to start digging. So, but another investment, and this person drops the ball and like says something's going to be delivered on this date, and it doesn't happen. But this person's having to reach out to this company multiple times to get a response and an answer, and finally has to go to the big honcho to get a response. And then it's like, oh, so now you respond though? You were supposed to have this to me like on this date and never received it, but you got all your money up front. Right. So things like that really bother me. We entrust in business because there are things we are not good at, and we are okay with that. I believe that happens to so many people. There are certain things that we individually cannot do, or it would take us 10 times longer. So that has to come, let me pay somebody to do this, right? But when they don't fulfill their end of the bargain, that really hurts. It hurts in a financial way. It hurts for your ego. It hurts like, okay, well, now I got to figure out who I'm in. How can I trust somebody else? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, those are the things that I battle with. And I'm like, bump it. I'm just going to do everything myself. Do you know what I mean? Because it'll get done. Even if it's not fast, it'll eventually get done. And maybe I won't be in the negative so hardcore, you know? So those two things. So hitting on that, trusting who you invest in, I guess, and not dwelling on it, but I'm so dwelling on it. I'm just pissed about it, to be honest. I'm just being honest, you know?
Can you guys give, can you guys let the people know, was it hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars?
It was $10,000. I'm just going to tell it.
I didn't know she was going to give the exact number, but that's cool with me.
I'm just because it's not like $500 and I didn't get it back.
The whole point of this podcast, right, is really to pull back. Yes, we want y'all to, listen and be with us, whatever, but it is to kind of pull back the curtain so that you can hear the real, raw truth about what we experience as entrepreneurs. Okay, Olivia, please continue.
Oh, I was going to say, just to touch on what she said or whatever, because she said, trust the people, whatever. And it's very hard to do if you're working with the company. Like there's no way, obviously you can read reviews, you can talk to past clients, all those types of things. I mean, we actually got referred by a past client, but I think, that really speaking to that point even more is that you just really have to know, like, I mean, it's no. I feel like I try to think about like, how could we avoid it? First of all, I feel like we had already invested with them prior to that. So maybe it was like, okay, hindsight, it was like, okay, what did we get out of the first one? Right. And I felt like we did get a lot out of it, but it wasn't, financial gain, right? It was like more structural, which, you pay for structure, you pay for some things you have to pay to get things sorted out or straightened out or developed, whatever. But it's really hard to say, oh, I'm going to trust this company or trust this person with my business. So I really would like to figure out other ways that you can, vet the people, or just talk about some of the ways that, not going to be avoided, because I think it's an experience and it's a lesson that is going to help us in the long run when it comes to like vetting people, hiring new people, things of that nature. But I definitely want to just maybe just talk about like what are some things
Okay,
that
I
we're
have a
doing.
suggestion that this probably would have been good for us to do. Now thinking about it, right, as we've talked about this multiple times, but it is really making sure you're reading the fine print, right? Because we went off of verbal, and then it was like you glance over things, you sign off on it, you're like, oh, okay, it is. They're going to do what they said they're going to do, you know? I would possibly know, like, are you supposed to get a return in money, right? Is that the thing? And if you don't, is there like a stipulation? Well, if this doesn't happen in this many days, is there a refund, or is there this? Like, really asking all those questions up front, because that could have been something we could have avoided immediately if we were like, can you write on paper this is all going to be done, and this is what the gain looks like, right? That would be something moving forward before you do invest in anybody. What does that look like? And you have it written out on in fine print. And if they don't fulfill their end of the bargain, okay, well, before I invest in you, then what are you going to do? If you don't fulfill, what are you going to do? Am I going to get my money back because I didn't gain anything from it? Do you know what I mean? Or whatever. Or is it, yeah, just I'm going to build out something for you. You're not going to see any financial gain. It's just the structure. Here it is. And now you're at a better position. Great. Well, so then you're not as emotionally tied to the money, you know, because when you realize the structure is going to be there, you're going to be ahead and going to be better, but you're not like, oh, okay, I should be getting this money back. Because I think that's where my emotions are. I was like, oh, we should be getting this back in a few months. But it never occurred that way, right? It never happened. So, yeah, what do y'all think about that approach?
I think that, I mean, I'm not trying to give anybody any false hope. This is a part of business. And I think the reason I'm so glad we're talking about it is because I think you guys did do your due diligence. I mean, you did your due diligence.
Yeah.
One, you didn't just pick somebody out of the blue, right? And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with it, but if we're talking about reducing the probability, the statistical probability that I'm going to pay for something that I don't get, you guys knew one of their clients, right? You had some type of form, relationship with them, and so
Yeah.
they came highly recommended by somebody you actually knew. You
Yep.
saw what the outcome was for them. They were promising to do the same thing. You read the fine print. You read the print. It just didn't happen. I also like to say that I'm not saying, and y'all may feel differently, but I don't think that necessarily like people are defrauding everybody. I just think that sometimes it's like they couldn't deliver, right? They didn't do a great enough job of assessing you as a client to know that what I did for that client, I'm not going to be able to do for you because they had a completely different platform or business structure or whatever. Everything don't work for everybody, right?
Yeah.
Even if I have a phenomenal product, phenomenal service, the way my audience responds, or even just like where I am, our outcomes may not be the same. So I don't think that there's a way to, 100% avoid it. I think you guys did what like you could do. As far as like, okay, are we going to get these things? Is this what's going to happen? We're working with them. They didn't ghost you. You know what I'm saying? Like all of those things I think happened. It's just, it was you said $10,000. It was a $10,000 lesson, which seems expensive, but I think one, it's going to cause you to move differently moving forward with that type of service provider, right? Because it wasn't like, oh, we're going to come and clean your house, and so now when you leave, is my house clean, is my house not clean? It's like, we are going to create this system and we're going to put you in a position to generate this income. But the truth is, people still have to be the ones to buy from you. Like, somebody else has got to ultimately make the decision to swipe their card with you. And so I think that's what makes it tricky. And I think we have got to change our attitude, because this, what you're saying, and I don't want y'all listening to Amber, don't be falling behind her. We are not going to do that. This idea that we are now going to do things ourselves, I know that's what we lean towards, because it's like, first of all, ain't nobody got $10,000 to be given to you. I could have not did work for myself and kept that $10,000. I come in, you could have got the same results, and I could have been looking at that comment in my bank account right now. So like, I get that. But the truth is, you can only go so far being a solopreneur. And this is called my CEO squad, which means we are moving to a place where we will have staff, where we'll be writing checks, where people have benefits. We cannot go to the things that we plan on doing and continue to do. It's not like, oh, we're going to get there by ourselves and then we're going to hire people. No, you're not. You're going to hire and fire and hire and fire and hire and fire. And then you're going to get there. You finally going to find a good person that's going to work for you. My failures, I'm glad we're talking about this. They're similar. They're all the same, right? Like, what did I do? I paid for something I didn't get. Right. I hired somebody that I didn't get the outcome. I'm giving money to say, and the outcome didn't go. So even though it's like different, and I feel like mine wasn't one, mine was several, like over here, over there, I feel like several places. I just feel like, dang, your girl can't get no help out here in these streets. And I'm paying people what they say they want to be paid or whatever. So I think that, trying to find our way in getting support. That's really what we're talking about. Getting people, products, services, staff, collaborators, whatever it looks like, that are going to partner with us and helping us to get to where we're trying to go in business. That we have just had a lot of experiences where it's like, so I paid you. And I know that I speak English, so I told you exactly what I wanted to do. And then it didn't happen. I agree with you. It is 100% frustrating. My feelings are actually hurt, right? Like, it's not just frustrating. I have a lot of feelings. I feel sad. I feel exasperated. I feel taken advantage of. I'm now there's more self-doubt. Like, maybe I'm not going to be able to grow. Maybe I'm not going to be able to do it. Maybe, maybe all the maybes. Now I'm feeding the imposter syndrome. And now it makes me hesitant to add to my team. That cannot be our attitude. We have to push past that, else we need to change this podcast to the My Solopreneur Friends. And there ain't nothing wrong with that if that's what you want, but that's just not what we want. You know what I'm saying? Like, we want to be CEOs, and that means that we have a team. We are employing people. We're not just millionaires. We are, our businesses are making other people millionaires, right? Like, that's where we're going. And so that requires that we have help, It definitely sucks though. And I was annoyed for y'all, by the way.
Like, I know. I
was annoyed. I was like, it ain't my money. And I'm looking at you cross-eyed.
So I'm going to say it out loud now.
Oh, what is she going to say?
I know I keep saying, like, I'm done talking about it. But I'm going to literally leave it in the past, even though it's going to be over my head, because I can see stuff online that I can't run from. It's like, I can't avoid it. But I am going to move past it. That is a regret. I haven't talked about it in a minute, but we're talking about regrets, right? Like, things that I failed at.
No, I'm not talking
not
about
even a regret, like a failure though, right? Like a place of fail. Yeah. Even though we've had a lot of success, moving past that, it's just like, that is the one thing I'm like, I wish we did not pull the plug on. Like, we were like, no, we're cool, whatever. But let me just tell y'all this, and I swear I'm not going to say nothing else about them, but I think they know they messed up. You know why? Is because they approached us with something else and put a dollar sign in front of that. And I called them out on it. And I'm going to tell you something. That is one thing. Olivia, she might not say it right there to your face, but she will be telling me, she's like, no, we ain't doing nothing else with them. And so my hot head, I'm like, we're not, because we're going to pull receipts right now. This is why we are not investing in y'all one more time, because y'all hadn't done what y'all said y'all were going to do. So we pulled receipts and we were like, these 3 little digits right here ain't adding up to this extra comma. Okay. So I don't know what y'all think y'all did for us before, but why would we want to do something else with y'all now? And they walked fast. They're like, okay, well, great meeting. Bye. And they were off that meeting. They done. We ain't never heard nothing else from them hardly. So they feel some type of way too. Like, ooh, because he was like, and he has access to see stuff. We're like, you hadn't seen that this ain't producing? I don't know what you doing. What garden it's dry. Okay. So you got to get out there with your hose and water it some. And you ain't even done that. We out here doing all the work. And what you produced online is supposed to bring people to, and it just was not converting. Super frustrating. So they know they messed up.
And I was literally about to say that. I was going to say, well, we might have not learned our lesson that time, but the third time we were like, nope, not happening. Not happening. The second time I was like, all right. But the third time I was like, definitely not. Nope. Yeah. Get out of here.
Yeah.
If you come in, first of all, it was so funny because, when you're business and you're trying to pitch yourself, you're trying to pitch, it's like you could tell it's just words people use. It's like the way they let us show you this little screen share or whatever. We're like Spidey Citizens is like, what you don't even do it to yourself. Amber actually told them, no, take that down.
Yeah. I think Olivia and I, we had to mute ourselves in that meeting or something. And I think we had a conversation as they were speaking. I was like, are they about to sell us something else?
Yeah, I was in the studio that day minding y'all business. I was there for that call.
Yeah, I'm like, I know. What the heck? They're not doing this. That is not happening. Absolutely not happening.
She's like, don't even take that down. She's like, are y'all about to...
I'm not very proper in this.
Let me tell you this, is I love your directness though, because one of the things that I end up doing is, y'all getting that feedback?
Yeah, I don't know why it's not coming through. I'm gonna mute myself.
It sounds better now. Here's the thing. I think it's great how direct you are, because I actually run from confrontation. I had one, I was paying. I'm looking like, what exactly am I paying for? But I just kept doing it. I don't know why, because I don't want to confront it, because I'm just like, I don't know. I know I seem like the tough one, but I really just want people to do the work they say they're going to do, because I don't want to have a conversation with you. I'm just going to just keep letting you do it, probably. What else? And then I think that it's great that you are saying it right to their face, right? Because one, they can take that feedback and grow. I actually seek that out. If somebody cancels my membership or stops working with me, I send an email. I want to know why. Maybe they're leaving for the right reason. Maybe they thought they were going to get something from the program that my program doesn't offer. Maybe I dropped the ball somewhere. That does not happen often at this stage of what I do. But maybe I dropped the ball somewhere and my messaging was off or whatever. And so I want to know, as a coach, as a business owner, where I lost your business, because I'm in this for the long haul, and everybody's important, no matter whether they're paying $5 or $50 or $5,000. Like, I want, to know why I lost a customer. So I commend you for being direct, because I definitely would not have been. I just would have been like, yeah, no, thank you. We're probably going to go another way. I don't think I would have been like, first of all, I know you're not on here asking me money for money. I gave you money and you didn't it with that. So, I don't think that I would have had that. I know I would not have said it. I just would have been like, okay, cool.
Oh yeah, it was like, Olivia, will you pull that screen up so I can see what's actually happening? Olivia's like, eeks, okay.
I think that's so. I think that's so good. I think I failed to do that a lot this year. I failed to be direct, not just like things that I did that didn't work out. I failed to be direct. I allowed things to go on for way longer, and that kind of caused me to have some buildup. And here's the thing with me is, like, I'm cool. I'm going to say I'm cool and we just done. Like, okay, that's cool. We're done. But if I still continue to experience the same thing over and over and over, then I'm not cool. Then I'm crazy. I go from cool to crazy. And so that's why I'm just like, well, let's just, like, I don't know how you are not doing what you're supposed to do, or what I asked you to do, or what you said you were going to do. I cannot relate to that. Like, it literally, my sister and I were talking about this weekend. It just blows my mind. Because of the type of person that I am. If you are not doing the work you said you were going to do, first of all, y'all pray for me. I know in the past you pray for me. I'm judging you. I don't know that we can be friends. And I'm not saying that we are friends. I'm just saying, like, oh, even if we're just coworkers, but you're not doing what you're supposed to do, you don't do good work, I don't want to hang out with you at lunch. You didn't do your job today. Like, that's just not like a thing for me. But even when I experience people in my business in the church, not doing the thing that they are supposed to do, that they've requested to do, that they've signed up to do, either paid or unpaid. I failed to confront the issue at the start. I just let it go on without saying anything for too long. And that is definitely something I don't want to do moving
You know what
forward. I
else
want
I
to be able to
appreciate?
assess it.
Yeah, let's talk about this, Courage. I want to know from you and Olivia both, wouldn't you appreciate somebody saying, though, like, I messed up?
Yes.
Like, I messed up. Like, I know I told you I was going to do this, and I dropped the ball. So what can I do to fix it? That
Yes.
I can get with all day. Tell me about y'all.
Yeah. 100%. Whether it's business, 100%. Whether you're my client or I'm like, yes, you telling me, hey, can I tell Olivia dropped the ball this year? Ooh, that doesn't happen often. Not for me anyway. She might drop the ball for her own life and stuff like that. But I keep a very good record. You know, I had these friendship contracts, and I'd be looking at these contracts at the end of the year. And Olivia has a really good renewal rate. Like, she gets renewed every single year. She doesn't always have blemishes, but baby, in 2022, the great Olivia, who never does no wrong, got a blemish. She completely dropped the ball. I feel like you dropped the ball twice, actually. I can't remember exactly what they were. I was so excited about it. I mean, I was upset, you know, obviously. It was an accident. She didn't mean to do it. But I was like, oh, look at you out here acting like these regular people dropping the ball. But she was like, it wasn't, I mean, she felt so bad. And she was like, I don't even have no excuse. I don't know what the heck happened. I forgot what day of the week it was. And I dropped the ball. Like, she just owned it. She didn't wait for me to say something to her or talk to her about it. She was calling and texting. First of all, she calling and texting me during church. She is calling and texting me like, oh my gosh. I'm like, girl, it's fine. You see what I did? I just pushed the play button and it just went out without all of her extra great stuff that she does for the church. But she took so much ownership of what she signed up to do that I didn't even have to confront it. And I think that's probably why I suck at confronting, because Olivia and I have been doing business together for we started together, right? Mm-hmm. And we've been this way the whole time. So if something happened, if we didn't do something, it wasn't like, you ain't gotta worry about calling me, because I'm already sitting somewhere talking to myself like, so you were supposed to do this and you ain't do it. Like, what's wrong? What is happening? Let's have an intervention. So I never got the practice of doing that. You know what I mean? Like, depending on somebody to do something, and then when they drop the ball, I have to confront them. You see the ball on the ground, don't you? So why I gotta come to you?
You know what? I think that comes from, I feel like people do not, I just feel like it's maybe a character integrity thing for some people, because honestly, when I drop the, you know, none of us are perfect, right? So we're not saying that people don't drop the ball or you shouldn't drop the ball. The balls are going to get dropped every now and again, right? That's just life, right? But I feel like if I drop a ball, I feel so internally just terrible. Yeah. Like, I rip myself apart, right? So it's like, I don't understand. That's why I don't understand people. That's why I don't understand other people's conscience. Like, you not think, like, you have no thought. Like, it's no like, oh, I dropped the ball. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm the worst. Let me just quit. Like, that's why I think I quit. Like, earlier in the podcast episode,
she tried
that I wanted to quit or whatever the podcast, and it's because I don't want to drop the ball.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to drop the ball. So when there comes a time where I feel like super overwhelmed, or like, oh my gosh, I got all these things to do and blah, blah, blah. And one of the worst feelings I have is when I have a lot of stuff to do, but I don't see a lot of financial return from it, right? So when I'm doing a lot of things and I'm like, I'm still broke, I don't like it. Yep. That is not a good feeling for me. So when I'm like, you know, before I drop the ball, I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. I try, because I honestly don't like the feeling of dropping the ball. Like, I don't like it. and I spiral. And then if even for myself, or if I'm doing something for somebody else, if I drop the ball, it makes me spiral to do nothing. Like I'm paralyzed. I will get paralyzed and be like, oh, I'm not doing that. Like it's not conscious, but I can see it on the aftermath. Like I can see it after the fact. Like, oh, I spiraled out of control. And that's why I'm like, then I get into maybe like a procrastination mode, right? If I know like, oh, I'm not going to be able to, or it's the end result, right? Of dropping the ball or whatever, or potential. Because sometimes I don't even actually drop the ball, but it's like the potential of thinking I'm about to drop the ball.
Yeah.
I'm like spiraling out of control. So, when it comes, then I should start looking at my plate. Like, so got to get X stuff. I ain't doing this podcast.
See, this makes a lot of sense though, but that is really that's actually kind of a disorder. You know what I mean?
It's a bit of a disorder. I might agree. I think that is why we also don't drop the ball that often, right? Like that's why it's so important to say no. It's important to say no so that your yeses are actually yeses that you can deliver at the highest possible level. That's why it's important for you to only sign up and do things that are really in alignment with what you like and what you have been called to do, or even what the Lord is calling you to do. Sometimes God is calling us to do something you're like, I don't want to, but he is my Lord and Savior. So I'm going ahead and do what he said to do. And so I'm showing up for him. I'm not even really showing up for you. And I'm going to do it at this, level of excellence. But when you are saying yes to things and then you are dropping the ball and you are not taking ownership, I think part of that too, I can't trust you moving forward in the relationship. It puts a strain on the trust. So like if the company comes to me and says, look, we were supposed to do this. We're looking at your numbers. We just did not deliver. And we are so sorry about that. So you know what we want to do? We want to work with you for another 6 months, if you will let us. And this is what we're going to do for the next 6 months. And we're actually going to go ahead and we're going to put some money into it. That's what I want to hear. That's something that can be forgiven in business. And now we can continue moving on. Yeah. But when it's like, you're not acknowledging it, you are behaving like this is happening to you, like, oh my gosh, you're going to be mad at me. Well, you know what? Yes, I am. How, you should expect this. I'm not going to yell at you. I'm not going to cuss you out. But yes, you should expect for somebody to be upset when you drop the ball. And so now I need to lean in and apologize and take ownership and let you know what I'm going to do to rectify the situation. But when you are dropping the ball left and right and you don't acknowledge and you are not trying to do anything to make up for it, seems like, okay, yeah, so that didn't really work out. We got your money, but that didn't really work out. So this is what we'd like to do. Just moving on, that very cavalier, you don't even care that we entered into some type of agreement and you didn't show up for me. That's a problem. And I don't care how you felt if you didn't say it. And I'm just we on here to be 100% with you. I'm telling you right now, I'm struggling. Me, Courage Molina. I ain't speaking for Olivia. I want y'all to speak to this. I am struggling to believe that you are sorry when you dropped the ball. You knew you dropped the ball, but I had to be the one to initiate the conversation. I don't know, but I think you are sorry. I'm struggling to trust that you actually feel away. Because if you felt away and you knew you dropped the ball, why you didn't call me? Why I'm calling you? Yeah. Why y'all not checking to make sure that my money is my program is doing the thing that y'all created is actually working? Why aren't y'all checking? Because y'all can get in and see. So why aren't y'all checking? And why aren't y'all saying something to me 5 months in, 6 months in, while we waiting until the end of our term together for you to be trying to renew your contract? That right there, that makes me struggle to trust you. Yeah. If you don't say it to me, it seems insincere if I have to address you and then you apologize. That's just, I'm sure it can be sincere, but I just feel a way about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything you feel about Olivia? From last year?
From last year. I mean, obviously our endeavor together, whatever, that's but I feel like
what's that? I don't know what you're referring to.
What we just discussed.
Yeah, okay. What we just
discussed. That was together. I'm trying to think personally or in my other business that I have a large failure. I definitely I know in the beginning of the year, I had certain goals that I wanted to accomplish during the year. And I think I had a really good year, but I feel like um, still not, still didn't get everything that I wanted to get done as far as the growth in my brand or whatever. So I don't know. It's another thing is this is a really hard thing for me also, like just when it comes to like failures or whatever. Sometimes I'm a very optimistic person, so I don't dwell on things a lot of times, right? So I'm not a dweller. Like if something didn't work out or I missed the ball, that I feel like
She's not a dweller. She just skate right over it. She'd be like, "Yeah, it's fine. Let's keep
yeah,
it moving."
and that's the thing. Like I will, if it's something, and I think that's it. That's it right here. It's coming to me. If it is for someone else, I have a that is terrible, right? When it comes to like showing up for people, that's when I feel like it's terrible. Like it's DEFCON 9 for me or whatever. When it comes to showing up for myself, I'm like, it's fine. So if I do have a failure, unless it's like, something financial and I don't have those a lot, like an investment or something like that, then I don't really, it's not that crucial to me, right? And so then it's like, oh, it's a failure. I probably forget. If it did happen, I didn't, that left my mind so long ago. It's like, bye to the world. Like it doesn't live here. Like I don't live in failure a lot when it comes to like just, oh, I didn't do something right or blah, blah, blah. I don't live in that a lot or whatever. I'm just like, erase it from my memory.
Yeah, true.
So unless it's like what we went through in our business or whatever, because there's a financial implication and that's hard to like glaze over. That's hard to glaze over.
Yeah.
But so I didn't have any of those in my business, so I don't really remember a lot of like, oh, this is a failure. No.
Yeah.
Definitely want to grow the brand more and do more within my brand, but it doesn't. I didn't see the fail, but I did what I could do.
Yeah, that's good though.
That is.
Yeah. I think that the thing to remember in these situations when it's failure, it's just like hearing good versus bad stuff. You always hear you can sit in the bad for longer than you can the good. And I think in business, when you see a financial hit, that's when it feels like failure, right?
Mhm.
But everything
Yeah.
else we move past, we're like, well, that sucked. Look, we learned from that. Let's move forward. And you move forward. And you're right. We kind of don't sit in it. I think it's hard to do that as a business owner. You have to keep moving. You can't sit in it or you don't grow. But the financial thing, I think in general, as a human, it hits worse. Yeah, harder for sure.
Especially when it impacts how you can move forward. If I lose $10,000, that's a lot of money that might, that obviously hurts. But if the loss of that $10,000 does not keep me from doing what I plan to do for the remainder of the year, then it probably is a little bit easier to say, okay, well, you have wins and losses in business. And even though we lost $10,000 there, we actually, had a gross of this amount. Like, I think it's easy to do that. But even if it's $500, if whatever it was has an impact on what I can do today, it is very difficult to not think about it. Because if I hadn't done that, then I wouldn't be dealing with this, right? Like it just is this vicious cycle. And so that's why I think it's great to do these things at the end of the year so that you can just like make the mental decision, like, okay, I am closing out this business this year, all of these failures or whatever. And the only thing I'm taking with me in the new year are the lessons that I got from it and nothing else. Like, that's just it. I think that's so, so important.
What's one thing that we all three want to do better moving forward into 2023? And if you're listening, I want you to think about this too. Like we really hit y'all with like feeling probably like, oh, that sucks for them. Or thinking about something that happened for yourself. But what's one thing moving into next year that you want to do different for a brand new year?
I'm going to be more demanding. In 2023, my demand's skyrocketing. I'm going to
elaborate.
I'm I demonstrate a certain level of excellence. Like, this is what I do. This is how I show up for my people, for the people I've been called to serve, for my clients, and my friendships and my relationships. I demonstrate the level of the investment and energy and sacrifice that I expect to get in return. And I feel like this past year, I didn't demand for people to give at the same level that I gave. And I don't mean like dollar for dollar. I just mean like, if I was calling you this year and you were never calling to check on me, like, that was cool. I just kind of let that go on and you still had access to me whenever you need me. No, that's not going to be a thing anymore. I think that I needed volunteers, and I even had people I paid, right? So this is where I take responsibility, not where I'm just like saying they dropped the ball. I dropped the ball and not demanding a certain level of work, right? Like, just a certain level of productivity. And so maybe I would ask for less than I really needed, or I would accept less, like, oh, well, I really need people to help. And Amber's like, well, I can help for 3 hours, but I really need somebody for 5 hours. Do you know what I'm saying? Or, oh, I can help, and I know you need me here for 5 hours. And so she says yes to the 5 hours, but then she only shows up for 3 hours, and I don't address that. I'm not doing that in 2023.
Got it. That makes a lot of sense.
Out.
I like that you said that, because we've had many conversations this year about stuff like that. So I think that's really good that you stand.
Yes, because I got my behind kicked 100 times over this year because I just did not set a standard. I just did not set a standard for what I actually needed. I just kind of made it a little bit less so that it would seem more appealing, and then maybe you would do it, and they didn't even dang do that. So that's done. Like, what I need, I'm going to say, and for the record, this is like Jesus. Okay, I'm gonna be more like Jesus in 2023. The man was like, what does it take? Jesus was like, it's gonna take you everything you have. So you can either choose to be a part of this or not. That's what I'm gonna be saying. It is gonna actually require for you to do this. Are you in or are you out? I'm gonna be okay with people walking away, and I'm just gonna set the expectation at what it needs to be set at. I'm excited. Can y'all tell?
Yeah, I like that. I love that. What about you, Olivia?
What am I gonna do? What was the question again?
How are you gonna show up in 2023? What are you gonna do different than you did in the previous years?
I feel like I have this goal. I had this goal for the past 2 years or whatever, and I feel like I did a really good job of it this year. I feel like I did an okay job of it this year, or whatever. But it definitely has been. It's definitely been better than the past or whatever. And I think it's just showing up for myself. Like I said earlier, it's very easy for me to show up for other people. So easy, so easy. But in 2023, I definitely want to show up for myself more, be more self-serving.
Yeah.
Because I really serve others a lot. And we're actually talking about that before we started this podcast, and it just got me to thinking or whatever that I am it is a con, or it's kind of like a con.
Character flaw. Go ahead.
Yeah. When you serve others, serve them all the time, when you're super helpful. I consider myself to be a super helpful person. I help everybody and anybody with anything, with never expectation for anything in return. A lot of times. And so with that comes a constant barrage of people that need help, or people that have questions and things and want your time and your energy. So with that, I definitely want to set better standards and better boundaries in 2023 that, this is how that works. Or if you need help from me or whatever, this is what it looks like. So I definitely want to set better boundaries, or set some boundaries, or assess my boundaries and set them.
Yeah.
And know what they are for 2023. And it just comes from people that, I'm just super helpful to. I'm nice in general. I'm just a nice person. I like to help people.
Does this include me and Amber? That's what I really want. That's what inquiring reminds me of. Are you talking about us?
no.
Because we are the most demanded people. We need the most help.
Really
We are
are.
so helpless. We're like, where's Olivia? We can't get anything.
So
I
yeah,
think what you said, assess your boundaries and then know your boundaries.
Yeah.
That is 100% the biggest thing that you could do to really help, because otherwise that bleeding starts happening, and then you're like, why is this happening? Or why are these people asking this of me? Because they weren't clear on what that boundary was.
Yeah.
I think that's really great.
I'd love to help you set up some systems for your boundaries. Because then you don't even have to think about it from person to person. Like you can literally, if like when you're taking requests, this is how I take requests. I don't take requests in my DMs. I don't take requests via text message. I don't take requests via phone call. I have somebody I am related to who I just told her, I'm like, hey, she's my cousin. I'm like, I really want to help you do this. I want to, mentor you. I want to help you out. I'm like, I'm going to send you a link to my calendar. And if she doesn't get on my calendar, then I'm not going to help her, because I'm not going to be doing it like just via phone because she's my cousin or whatever. Because I have to have boundaries. I have actual work to do and things like that. And while I want to help her, I love her. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm here to see her win. It cannot just be on some random whenever she wants. And I think that's another thing that makes it difficult to be so helpful, because people are calling you in a 911 situation. Very rarely is somebody saying, hey, Olivia, I need you to make something for me 6 months from now. They're like, Olivia, I need you to make something for me. Can you get it done in 6 minutes? Because I actually got to send it over to this place so that I don't lose $100,000. So can you help me? Do you know what I mean? Like, that's always
No, and that literally happens to me all the time. Like, I designed for a magazine, and one of the magazines I work for, they had a big opportunity, and they're literally texting me like, oh, can you add this? Can you do this? Can you do this? Or whatever. And I'm like, no. And it was one day, it was funny because I said, I think these people, in general, people think that I just sit at my computer every day, all day. And so I responded one day and I was like, funny enough, they're like, oh, can you do this, whatever? And I'm like, I'm not at my computer today or whatever, because I was like out or whatever. I was like, funny enough, I'm not attached to my computer every day, all day. They're like, oh, you're not? I'm like, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
So it's like people think I just sit here like this all day long. Let me change this. Like, no, I'm not doing that every day, all day. So when you calling in for your last minute, 5-minute request because something need to be on TV, it's too much.
Yeah. Yep. So those boundaries, having them in place, if you're listening to this, really reflect back on 2022 and write down what you want to change about your year moving forward. I don't want to repeat this. And if that does come up again, what are my boundaries and what is the system to solve that problem, so I don't have to go down the same struggle bus that I previously went through. I think this was really good reflecting on that.
I will say really quick, I feel like I think I definitely did better on this particular client, because in the responses that I get sometimes, I just say, ooh. And so I recently got a message that said, oh yeah, can you do this or whatever? But I know you don't work on weekends. I know. I love when they say that. I love when they say that, because, or they'll be like, oh, no, you don't text back after a certain time. And I'm like, I don't. I love when people even say that on my emails, because on the bottom of my signature, I say I do not respond to emails on Saturdays and Sundays. So people will say, like, in the message, like, I know you're not going to see this until whatever. I'm like, and sometimes I do see it on Saturday and Sunday, but I love that in the previous years I haven't done that. And this year I think I do think I did a really good job in setting those boundaries. And I love to hear people's response to it, like, okay, you got that. So I don't think I'm 100% there, but I definitely got a lot better in 2022 with my boundaries, setting standards, setting procedures. Like, this is how, and because I design a lot or whatever, one of the things that I used to deal with is like emails. I hate emails because I get so many. So I'm like, don't tell me anything about anything in an email because it's probably not going to get seen. This is how you get it to me. And so they were like, oh, I emailed, but I did put it over there. I'm like, good, because if you email me something, it's just, I get way too many emails, people. I even set up a new email this year for the fact that my old email is just done with. So it's like, I think I want to, pat myself on the back for setting some and sticking to those for the most part this year. So just want to put that little caveat in there because I'm like, I did do a little something. I was thinking about that message I got this weekend.
I'm glad you said that. And if nobody was clear, I think in the previous weeks we have told them you don't do any corresponding on the weekend. So Olivia just set that boundary in place. Moving next year, nothing's changing. She's just going to be a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I did say that last year, and I feel like I did very.
You did well.
You did annoyingly well.
Yeah, you really did well. Well, you guys, this was an amazing podcast.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am. You ain't done? Oh, gosh.
What are you doing? You ain't doing nothing? What are you doing next year? Me and Olivia said.
Oh, I didn't share. What am I doing? I'm going to show up even more than I do now. So I'm going to bring more attention to what I actually do, and I'm going to get more clear in my messaging because I have a lot of things I do. And they're not just things, they're business opportunities that I do and inquire about and run. I have to show up in each of those lanes and show up well enough that people are clear on what I do in those only lanes, right? Because I think last year what frustrated me the most is that someone would say, I didn't know that, or I wasn't aware of that, or I've never seen that, or I didn't hear about that. That's what bothers me the most is because I'm like, dang, I really thought I was really being clear and I thought I was sharing enough and all the things, but I was not doing a great enough job in those things. So it just hit me actually this weekend. She may be someone new that follows me, though, to be honest. I'm not really sure, but regardless, as soon as they follow me, I want them to know all the things that I'll have an opportunity or do or whatever that presents. And she's asking me business questions and things of that nature. And I said, well, have you heard of like the A&O show? Like that's where you need to go because, and I'll just tell y'all this example. You know what burns me up? It burns my fire. Okay. This girl she said, I'm going to do a vendor event. First of all, y'all know how I feel about these events. She said, I'm going to go do a vendor event. And she said, I am just this is another thing that bothers me. It's like negative stuff. I can't, next year, anybody speaking negatively to me, I just want to squash it like a fly. I want to be like, shut up. Shut up. Don't say anything else. That's how I'm going to do it. Shut. And they're going to be like, gotta go like Caesar Milan, shutting up them dogs. That's what I want to do. The negative conversations. Like, I don't mind if you're sharing, but it's like, how are you approving this? Right. And so this girl says something like she had the most horrible weekend. She's in my DMs about it. And it is just so bad. She doesn't know how she's going to overcome it. And then it's like, then I was like, well, can I read y'all what happened? Let me just read y'all this.
Receipts on the show.
Yeah. Okay. So she said, Amber, today was horrible and I feel so discouraged. I said, oh no, what happened? She wrote a story book. Okay. Then I said, want to hear the truth? I said, think about how you hear about products and services. Where do you see it? That was my response. I didn't even like go into anything else she said. She said mostly online and like ads. So I was like, yes. I said, show up where women are, which is online. So basically, I was like, stop doing vendor events because they're not freaking working for you. Like, you can't get mad at something that you have control over. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, don't show up to that if you don't think it's already going to go well. And also, you can't judge stuff from, well, this is what I used to do. What do you do now? We're in 2022, almost 23. People that are buying stuff, which is so much online, show up where people are scrolling. Do you know what I'm saying?
And also, can I just say that, like, it depends on your business too, if a vendor event is going to work for you in the way that you want. I feel like, is she in that? What business?
She's in cosmetics.
Okay, yeah. I feel like cosmetics at vendor events, they never work because they're not supposed to, sell. They don't have products that they can just like buy, take it. So, I mean, if you coming up, if you have a table where I can't buy nothing, this is not, it's not a vendor event type of thing.
Right.
I feel like when it comes to like cosmetics, unless you on the line and you can sell physical products at it. When people go to vendor events, they want to take home stuff. They want to get physical things, right? So you go to a craft show, you go to, tailgating, and they have vendors out there. People buy stuff from that all day. People rack up, people sell, people make hundreds and thousands of dollars from vendor events. But you have to have a product, or even if it's a service, because I see people out there giving people massages or whatever, all types of things people do at vendor events. But if your vendor event isn't conducive to the people who's showing up to that event, then it's dead in the water to start with. So I think that's the thing about vendor events versus online. Like, show up where your people are, and you got to do that research market to say, okay, is this a good place for me to be?
Yep. Yeah.
I think if you really wait, I'm just gonna say this, like, I'm team strategy. So like, even if you're in the cosmetics business or something like that, I think you can make a vendor event work for you, but you got to play the long game. It's not going to be the short game. So you can be doing demonstrations there to get people to come to your table, but that is going to be more of like a contact. I'm building relationships here. This is a networking thing. And if you come and let me do this demonstration on you, if you come and watch this demonstration, because they do these kinds of things at Sam's, right? Then you can put your name in this bucket. You got to give me your name and your email so that maybe you can win this thing, but it's only the people who've come to look at this demonstration. So I think you can make a vendor event work, even if you are in cosmetics, but you have to have like, what is my expected outcome? And you're right. If it's to make money today, it ain't gonna happen. Yeah. You can do a vendor event to get out into the community. So maybe you want to collaborate with other people. Maybe you speak and you want to be able to, I sell cosmetics, but I also want to be the next, whatever motivational speaker. And so you can make them work for you. You just have to have like, what is your goal? How will I know if this vendor event is successful? And am I positioned for success? And if you're not, then you don't need to go. You know what I mean? Like, you got to figure that out before you get there. I think you can make it work, but you definitely got to make it work,
Yeah. And honestly, if you want to make vendor events work, wouldn't you go to someone that has success with vendor events and say, how did you make it work? Right. You need to get some type of mentor in that. Right. And so I guess I want to show up more so in a way where people know how I can help them. So don't come to me asking me how to do it, because that is not where I win, right? So, and don't be coming to me with your frustrations, because I'm not going to help you and I'm not going to sit in that with you. I'm going to tell you, get your life, and I'm going to tell you the truth. This is why it didn't work for you. So that is one thing going into next year. I want everybody to know every avenue that I offer, show up really clear in that message, and also don't take the negative energy and all that coming off of somebody. You can throw up anywhere else you want to, but right now, if you come into me going to throw up, you're also going to hear how you're going to fix it. Right. And I just think that's a thing, like, have a safe space for your friends, for any colleague or whatever, but also don't sit in that with them. Like, move forward with it. Like, okay, well, this is how we're going to fix it. Okay, well, great. I don't want to hear about that tomorrow. So I hope you get that worked out, and, have a good day. Let's get back to work. You know what I'm saying? Like, just keep it moving. Yeah.
I think that's good. I think that is very, very good. Clearing, like, making sure people know what you do, because nothing is more annoying than somebody who follows you or who's like, oh, I didn't even know you did. Like, shut up. You know I did that. Man, let me get out here on these social media streets so y'all can know what I do. Right? Everybody, their mom and their cousin gonna know. I think that's great. And I think what we're really talking about there is, for you, like, getting back to the basics, right? What was I doing before anybody knew my name? Everybody knew you did what you did before. because of your messaging, because of your branding, because of how you showed up all the time, representing that space that you were in at the time. And so sounds like to me you're getting back to that type of consistency and showing up with your new offerings, which I think is great.
Yeah, so cool. Well, it's going to be a really cool next few weeks. Y'all get caught up on all these episodes. They have been awesome.
We got one more week. Why are you talking to them like this the last one? This ain't the last one.
It's not the last one. I'm not talking to them like this the last one. I'm just saying.
You're like, oh, y'all get y'all. I hope y'all enjoy this here. We ain't done. Come back next week.
Yeah, we have another one dropping next week. Yes. And then January, we're starting fresh with new episodes too. But anyways, yeah, just listen, because we listen back too, just with making sure everything is like optimized and titled well. So y'all know, because y'all know we open these conversations with, all right, let's go. Sometimes they turn over to something we weren't expecting, even though we had a plan somewhat in place. But we hope that you are loving it. Make sure you are giving us a 5-star on podcast, on Apple, wherever you're listening to this. But also make sure you subscribe. If you're watching this on YouTube and you're seeing it, just hit a subscribe, hit a like, do the things so we know it's good, because that's how we can show up even better for you. This was a great episode, you guys.
It was very good, very good.
I know my baby doggy's down here. He's like, you've been on that podcast for too long. Your break is up. It's time to get back to rubbing my belly.
Yeah, they get so jealous, these animals. It's funny.
They really do. Meanwhile, Thor's over there. He hates me because we got the other dog. But
when you got Animal Kingdom right at your feet.
Exactly.
By the way, we need to talk about next week. Olivia had Kia's dog, Kia and Morgan's dog the other week, and it was the best experience ever. I was like, oh my gosh, I love this for your life.
Yeah,
I did not.
Yeah, we definitely going to talk about that.
Barking. I couldn't do this podcast with him.
Exactly.
Which is what I was doing this whole time. So
yeah, it happens. All right. Well, we'll see y'all next time. Have a great day, and we'll check you later.
Bye.